Hello fellow anglers, my dear friends and subscribers. Welcome back to the channel, your ultimate hub for everything fishing. Today, we're not just casting lines, we're diving deep into the intricate dance between nature and fish, offering you a meticulously crafted forecast for an absolutely pivotal week in the Australian fishing calendar from the 22nd to the 28th of September 2025. That's right, we're focusing on the vibrant, teeming waters of Australia with a keen eye on the productive New South Wales coast, including our beloved Sydney waterways. This isn't just another forecast, this is your strategic blueprint for success on the water. What exactly does this late spring week hold in store? Will the fish be in a feeding frenzy, or will we be left admiring the scenery with wistful sighs and empty keepers? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be armed with invaluable tactical insights, concrete reasons why the fish will behave as they do, and actionable advice that could transform your next outing into a trophy-filled adventure. This particular week is shaping up to be exceptionally intriguing for fishing across the New South Wales region. As we confidently step out of the last cool whispers of winter and into the full, energetic embrace of spring, several critical environmental factors are converging to create what could be some truly phenomenal fishing opportunities. The water temperatures are steadily and surely on the rise, stirring the aquatic world into a flurry of activity. Fish are feeling that undeniable urge to feed aggressively, shaking off any lingering sluggishness from the colder months. When you couple this essential warming trend with the powerful gravitational influence of a significant lunar event, specifically a new moon gracing our skies early in the week, you're looking at a combination of conditions that could ignite truly explosive bites for a diverse array of species. So, my friends, get your gear ready, sharpen those hooks and prepare your minds, because understanding these dynamic shifts will be your ultimate, unparalleled advantage out on the water. Now let's talk brass tacks, my friends. Specifically, the most effective tactics and the prime target species for this action-packed period along the magnificent New South Wales coastline, particularly within the incredibly diverse fishing grounds in and around Sydney. Based on our current understanding of the consistently warming waters and the predictable seasonal movements of various fish, we're looking at some genuinely exciting and potentially record-breaking opportunities. Let's start offshore with a true blue water heavyweight, a species that embodies the pinnacle of sport fishing, the Black Marlin. For those daring anglers who live for the unparalleled thrill of battling a leviathan, this week falls squarely within a prime window of opportunity. Historically, the period from September through November is renowned for its Black Marlin activity as these magnificent predators embark on their southward migration along the powerful East Australian current. While the Great Barrier Reef is well established as a confirmed breeding ground, these fish are driven by an insatiable urge to feed and spawn, which makes them incredibly active and receptive to our offerings as they move down the coast. Where to find them? Your absolute best bet for encountering these formidable creatures is offshore, specifically concentrating your efforts along the continental shelf edges. Look for pronounced changes in depth, such as the shelf break, which often acts as a highway for migrating baitfish and, consequently, their predators. Keep a keen eye on fish aggregating devices (FADs), which attract vast schools of bait and, in turn, larger game fish. Search diligently for areas where you observe distinct current lines, subtle temperature breaks, even a degree or two can make a huge difference, and, crucially, any signs of baitfish schools on your sounder or surface activity like diving birds. Interestingly, juvenile black marlin can sometimes be located in surprisingly shallower offshore waters, occasionally as shallow as 37 meters or 20 fathoms, which can make them accessible to smaller, well-equipped game boats. Renowned locations like Port Stephens, for example, are legendary for their black marlin action and are popular hubs for this kind of sport fishing. On what to fish? My friends, this is unequivocally heavy tackle game fishing. You need to think big, robust, and relentless. Live baits, such as small tuna like skipjack or yellowfin, slimies, mac tuna, or frigate mackerel, are often irresistible. Present them naturally, slow-trolled or bridled for optimal swimming action. For covering vast expanses of water and attracting attention from afar, large, skirted lures, trolled at speeds typically ranging from 6 to 12 knots, are incredibly effective. Vary your lure colors from natural baitfish patterns to bright, aggressive combinations. The underlying logic here is straightforward. These fish are colossal, incredibly aggressive, and perpetually hungry, so your offerings must be substantial, durable, and expertly presented to accurately mimic their natural, fast-moving prey. Ensure your terminal tackle is impeccable. Sharp hooks, strong leaders, and reliable connections are non-negotiable. Now let's shift our focus a bit closer to the coastline for a perennial favorite among New South Wales anglers, the key snapper spee. Spring is an absolutely prime time for snapper fishing, as the warming water acts like a metabolic turbo boost, increasing their activity levels and intensifying their feeding urges. Where to find them? Snapper will be congregating around various forms of inshore structure, target patchy reef systems, prominent rocky headlands, and deeper water over isolated sand patches that are adjacent to reefy ground. As the sea temperature continues its upward trend throughout this week, do not be surprised to find them moving into shallower reef systems, particularly during periods of lower light, dawn and dusk, or under stable weather conditions. Pay close attention to underwater pinnacles, bommies, submerged rock structures, and areas of broken ground where current pushes bait. On what to fish? Soft plastics are a deadly weapon for snapper. Think grubtails, jerk shades, or paddletails in natural baitfish colors, pilchard, squid, or brighter, UV-enhanced hues for murkier water. Fish them with a slow lift and drop retrieve, allowing the lure to gently flutter back to the bottom. For traditional bait fishing, paternoster rigs are excellent for presenting fresh pilchards, strips of fresh squid, or fresh cut bait like slimy mackerel or tuna. Use a relatively light to medium outfit, perhaps a 6 to 10 kilogram braided line with a fluorocarbon leader, to truly feel those often subtle bites and maximize the exhilarating fight these fish provide. The critical element is presenting your offering as naturally as possible, keeping it consistently near the bottom where snapper forage. Consider a light burley trail of chopped pilchards or stale bread to draw them in. Moving into the calmer, protected waters of our estuaries, we encounter the incredibly popular and notoriously cunning Bream teats. These silver-flanked fighters become exceptionally active as the estuarine waters absorb the warmth of spring. Where to find them? Bream are master opportunists and structure enthusiasts. You'll consistently find them lurking around a diverse array of cover: rocky shorelines, sturdy jetties, formidable bridge pylons, extensive oyster racks, and even submerged timber or dense weed beds. They can inhabit the entire estuary system, from the deeper main channels where they might school to the shallower, food-rich margins. The steadily warming water acts as a magnet, drawing them into these structured areas where they actively forage for small crustaceans, worms, and baitfish. Look for areas with current flow that washes food past their hiding spots. On what to fish? For dedicated lure anglers, small hard-body lures, particularly shallow divers, can be incredibly exciting, especially when twitched around structure. Surface walkers too can deliver heart-stopping strikes during dawn and dusk. Soft plastics that accurately imitate worms, small prawns, or tiny baitfish are absolute dynamite, rigged on light jig heads, 1/16 to 1/8 of an ounce, and worked with a subtle hop and pause retrieve. For bait enthusiasts, nothing quite beats the allure of fresh prawns, live nippers, local yabbies, or plump bloodworms. These are absolute Bream candy. A finely tuned, light spinning outfit, ideally around 2 to 4 kilograms, is perfect for casting these delicate offerings and experiencing the feisty fight of a Bream. Remember, stealth is your ultimate ally when chasing Bream. Minimize noise and make precise casts to their hiding spots. A small, consistent burley trail can keep them interested. And finally, another estuary apex predator that truly comes alive with the arrival of spring, the Flathead. These wonderfully camouflaged ambush predators are not only a blast to catch on light gear, but also provide excellent table fare. Where to find them? Flathead are masters of disguise, preferring to lie patiently in wait, often partially buried, on sandy flats. Prime locations include areas adjacent to drop-offs, the mouths of estuaries, the entrances to creeks, and around the edges of weed beds where baitfish seek refuge. The warming water is a powerful incentive, encouraging them to move into shallower areas to feed more aggressively and make the most of the abundant spring bait. Target transition zones where sand meets weed or rock. On what to fish. Soft plastics are, without a doubt, one of the most effective tools for flathead. Paddle tails and grub tails in natural colors, like motor oil or pumpkin seed, or brighter chartreuse options for discolored water, worked slowly and methodically along the bottom, are incredibly productive. Vary your jig head weight to match the current and depth. Hard-body lures, either trolled slowly along defined channels or cast and retrieved over flats, also draw their attention. For the bait purist, live poddy mullet or fresh prawns are consistently top choices, rigged with a running sinker rig that allows the bait to move freely. A versatile medium-light spinning outfit, perhaps 3 to 6 kilograms, is ideal for accurately casting lures and effectively handling these powerful, head-shaking fish. Concentrate your efforts on areas where the incoming or outgoing tide creates distinct current lines, washing unsuspecting bait over the flats directly into a waiting flathead's strike zone. All right, my friends, now that we've covered the species and tactics, let's zoom out and explore the critical environmental conditions that are orchestrating the fishing opportunities this week. Understanding the why behind the bite is what truly separates a good angler from a great one. This theoretical foundation, grounded in practical observation, will elevate your fishing game. Firstly, let's dissect the weather Shamki. For Sydney and the New South Wales coast this week, from the 22nd to the 28th of September, promises a generally pleasant and stable early spring environment. We're looking at comfortable daytime air temperatures consistently hovering around 22 to 26 degrees Celsius, with equally mild and agreeable nighttime lows of 12 to 15 degrees Celsius. This range of temperatures is not only fantastic and comfortable for us anglers spending long hours on the water, but, more importantly, it serves as a powerful signal to the aquatic ecosystem. It indicates that the long, cooler grip of winter is firmly behind us, and the fish are actively shaking off any lingering sluggishness, their metabolisms primed for increased activity. Atmospheric pressure, a factor often underestimated, is expected to remain relatively stable throughout this forecast period. While obtaining precise daily millibar readings for a future date is challenging, the overarching meteorological patterns suggest no major disruptive frontal systems are on the horizon. This is exceptionally good news for fishing. Stable atmospheric pressure typically correlates directly with more consistent and predictable fish feeding patterns. Conversely, sharp drops or rapid rises in pressure often precede or accompany significant weather changes, which can profoundly unsettle fish and cause them to go off the bite. But with stability, fish tend to feed with more confidence. Wind conditions will generally be breezy, with an average speed of approximately 24 kilometers per hour. This level of wind is usually quite manageable, but it's crucial to pay close attention to its prevailing direction. A light to moderate breeze can actually be highly beneficial. It creates a natural chop on the water's surface, which breaks up light penetration, provides cover for predatory fish, and often oxygenates the water. This can activate predators like flathead and bream, encouraging them to hunt more aggressively. However, if winds become stronger or consistently blow from an unfavorable direction, you'll wisely want to seek out more sheltered bays, estuaries, or lee shores to maintain comfortable and effective fishing. As for precipitation, our forecast indicates mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies across the region, with only a modest chance of patchy, localized rain on some specific days. This implies that we'll largely enjoy bright, pleasant days for our fishing excursions. However, those periods of overcast skies or light intermittent showers should not be overlooked. They can actually provide superb bite windows. Lower light conditions often encourage shy or light-sensitive species to feed more confidently, and rain can wash terrestrial insects and nutrients into the water, exciting estuarine fish. Next, let's turn our attention to the absolutely vital Gansha water temperature. Along the bountiful Sydney and broader New South Wales coast, the sea temperature for late September typically averages a very promising 18 to 19 degrees Celsius. This is not just a number, my friends, it's a critical indicator. This temperature range is perfectly poised to kickstart and accelerate the metabolism of a vast array of temperate marine species, unequivocally signaling to them that it is prime time to feed aggressively, replenish energy stores, and begin their preparations for spawning. Any subtle upward trend in water temperature, even a seemingly minor increase of 1 or 2 degrees Celsius over the course of the week, can significantly amplify fish activity. This warming encourages them to actively push into shallower, sun-warmed zones where bait fish are congregating and the entire food chain becomes more active. Understanding these thermal preferences is paramount to locating active fish. Now let's explore the enigmatic yet powerful phase of the moon. This week is particularly captivating from a lunar perspective because it commences with a new moon on the 22nd of September. Following this significant event, we will transition into the waxing crescent phase, which will dominate the remainder of our forecast period. Many highly experienced and seasoned anglers, myself proudly included, often regard the new moon phase as one of the absolute best times to hit the water. But why? It's all about the tides, my friends. During a new moon, the gravitational forces of both the sun and the moon are aligned, working in concert to create the strongest possible tidal movements. These powerful tides act as a natural stimulant to the entire aquatic food chain. They stir up the bottom, dislodge sedentary bait, concentrate nutrients, and generally create a flurry of activity that often triggers aggressive, opportunistic feeding behavior in predatory fish. As the moon then gracefully progresses into its waxing crescent phase, its gravitational influence on the tides will gradually increase each day, generally maintaining these favorable fishing conditions, though perhaps not with the initial intensity of the new moon's peak. So, focus your efforts around those strong tidal movements. Finally, let's discuss the overarching general activity of fish in the New South Wales region for this precise time of year. Given that it is late spring in Australia, the aquatic ecosystem is not just active, it's truly buzzing with life and energy. The vast majority of species are enthusiastically shaking off the cooler, more sedate winter months and are actively engaged in feeding. We are observing a noticeable increase in metabolic rates across the board, affecting both the smaller baitfish, which are becoming more abundant and active, and their larger predatory counterparts. Species such as the estuarine bream, the bottom-dwelling flathead, and the reef-loving snapper will exhibit markedly higher activity levels and far less sluggishness compared to a few weeks prior. Offshore, as previously noted, the magnificent black marlin are well into their powerful migratory patterns, driven by the dual imperatives of feeding and reproduction. Our estuaries are quite literally coming alive with dense schools of baitfish, providing a crucial food source, and the dynamic offshore currents are ushering in various pelagic species. Overall, the collective message from the underwater world is clear. The fish are on the chew, so to speak, actively seeking out food. This isn't a week where you should anticipate slow, lethargic bites that require immense patience. Rather, it is a period that demands active hunting, consistent effort, and a willingness to explore, promising potentially fantastic rewards for those who put in the work. All right, my friends, let's get down to the absolute core of our forecast, the day-by-day breakdown of precisely what you can anticipate on the water from the 22nd to the 28th of September 2025. Remember, these are my most informed predictions, meticulously crafted from the latest available data, combined with a lifetime of invaluable on-water experience, refined over countless hours. Monday, the 22nd of September. Today, my friends, is truly a special day. It's the day of the new moon. As we've extensively discussed, this lunar phase is often a powerful catalyst, bringing about exceptionally strong tidal movements and, consequently, superb fishing conditions. With a forecast of generally stable weather, comfortable air temperatures hovering around 22 degrees Celsius, and a consistent breezy wind, I am confidently predicting an excellent bite across the board. This is not a day to stay home. Target your favorite species with utmost confidence. The fish should be highly active and aggressively feeding, particularly during those powerful peak tidal flows around the dawn and dusk periods. This is a prime opportunity to land that trophy fish you've been dreaming of. Don't miss it. Tuesday, the 23rd of September. We gracefully transition into the early stages of the waxing crescent phase today, still benefiting significantly from the potent gravitational influence of yesterday's new moon. Air temperatures will remain very pleasant, around 23 degrees Celsius, coupled with stable atmospheric pressure and refreshing good breezes. For these reasons, I'm expecting a consistently good bite. The fish will certainly maintain their active feeding patterns, perhaps with a slight reduction in the frenzied intensity of the new moon's absolute peak, but they will undoubtedly be very receptive to your offerings. I highly recommend focusing your efforts on areas that feature strong current flow, as this will continue to concentrate bait and activate predators. Wednesday, the 24th of September. The waxing crescent continues its steady progression, bringing forth another truly good day for fishing. The weather outlook remains commendably stable, with inviting daytime temperatures settling around 24 degrees Celsius. Winds are expected to be consistent, creating a beneficial chop on the water's surface. This surface disturbance not only provides excellent cover for predatory fish, but also helps to oxygenate the water, often triggering increased activity. Continue working those productive edges and structural elements. The fish will be actively holding and foraging there. Consider working deeper retrieves during the brighter midday hours. Thursday, the 25th of September. As we approach the midpoint of our fishing week, we might encounter a very slight shift in conditions. While we are still firmly in the beneficial waxing crescent phase and enjoying delightful temperatures of 24 to 25 degrees Celsius, there is a possibility of minor atmospheric pressure fluctuations or a subtle change in the prevailing wind direction. Because of these potential minor variations, I would categorize today's bite as good to moderate. My advice? Do not be disheartened if the fishing isn't quite as on fire as it might have been earlier in the week. Instead, this is a perfect day to exercise your adaptability. Adjust your retrieve speed, experiment with different lure colors or bait presentations, and explore a variety of depths. Persistence and willingness to adapt will still yield excellent results. Friday, the 26th of September. With the weekend eagerly anticipated, conditions look to once again stabilize and improve noticeably. The waxing crescent is visibly gaining illumination, steadily increasing its lunar influence, and air temperatures will be delightfully comfortable, reaching around 25 degrees Celsius. I'm confidently calling this a solid and good day for fishing. It often seems as though the fish sense the approaching weekend excitement too, becoming more receptive and aggressive towards your offerings. This is an excellent day to conduct some reconnaissance, scouting your favorite spots, and refining your tactics in preparation for the upcoming weekend's prime opportunities. Saturday, the 27th of September. Get ready, folks, because this day is shaping up to be one of the absolute best fishing days of the entire week. With the waxing crescent strong and steady, settled weather prevailing, and glorious, comfortable temperatures peaking around 26 degrees Celsius, I am confidently predicting an excellent bite. This is the day you want to be out on the water from first light, actively targeting those aggressive, feeding predators. Whether your passion lies offshore chasing marlin, hitting the inshore reefs for snapper, or exploring the bountiful estuaries for bream and flathead, the opportunities for significant catches should be truly plentiful. Maximize your time on the water today. Sunday, the 28th of September. As we gracefully bring our incredible fishing week to a close, you can still anticipate another reliably good day on the water. Air temperatures will remain wonderfully pleasant, staying around 25 degrees Celsius, and the waxing crescent continues its steady, illuminating progression. While there might be a very slight tapering off from Saturday's peak activity, perhaps due to subtle minor weather shifts or the increased fishing pressure from the weekend crowds, consistent effort and a smart approach will undoubtedly continue to yield very satisfying rewards. Make the most of this final day of a truly promising early spring fishing week. Pack a picnic, enjoy the scenery, and reel in some memories. Well, there you have it, my friends. A comprehensive, in-depth, and passionately delivered look at the fishing forecast for Australia, specifically focusing on the vibrant New South Wales coast, covering the entire period from the 22nd to the 28th of September 2025. I genuinely, truly hope that this meticulously detailed breakdown empowers you to plan your fishing adventures with confidence and brings you some truly unforgettable catches. Remember, every single day spent on the water is, by its very nature, a good day, but with a little strategic planning and this expert forecast firmly in your tackle box of knowledge, it can be an even better, more productive, and more memorable one. So, from my humble fishing spot to yours, filled with the spirit of the angling community, I wish each and every one of you tight lines. And as we say in the old country, nil fish, nil scale. That's ni kvosta, ni cheshwi in Russian, meaning good luck and a full net. If you've enjoyed this video, if you've found it useful, informative, or simply inspiring, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already joined our growing family, and most importantly, ring that notification bell so you'll never miss out on our future forecasts, invaluable tips, and thrilling fishing adventures. And hey, I absolutely love hearing from each and every one of you. What are your exciting plans for this fantastic week? What species are you genuinely hoping to catch? And what's your tried and true go-to lure or bait for spring fishing here in Australia? Please share your thoughts, your experiences, and your valuable observations in the comments section below. Your insights not only enrich our community, but also help us all collectively become better, more knowledgeable, and more successful anglers. Until next time, my friends, keep those lines wet, those spirits soaring high, and may your fishing dreams become a reality.